Yo, what up guys, Mr. Gruss here, back from MBR Starcast. A whole new video for you guys today. Today I'm going to be explaining about the patch notes, the new patch 4.1. It's the first type of video I've ever actually done like this on my channel. Been meaning to do something like this for a little while, but I'm very bad at reading the patch notes, and this is the first actual patch notes that I've kind of read in full and kind of have a good understanding of what's going to be going on. So the reason that it's now changed to 4.1, we're now in Season 4. I don't think we're officially in Season 4 because I've been reading the patch notes and it still says we're kind of in pre-season, but the LCS did actually start yesterday on the 14th. I think it was the Fnatic vs Alliance. I know that I did see that game come up, but I haven't actually checked any out myself yet. But if you're a big fan of League of Legends and you want to see the pro players, go to the just type in LCS on YouTube and you'll be able to find their channel. So anyway, in this video I'm going to be covering all the patch notes, or the majority ones, the ones that are important. So the minor changes and bug fixes aren't really important to you guys, and obviously you guys can find this on the League of Legends website. Just go onto the homepage and you'll find it there. So I'm going to be going through each different, well, the main bits and parts, and hopefully you guys will find it quite interesting. And if you guys do, then I'll look to make some other future videos like this. So, and also if you guys have any comments and questions about these patch notes and you want something explained, then I'll see what I can do. Just drop me a comment below. So anyway, starting off, this part really isn't too important. It just explains about that it's now moved from, obviously the previous patch was 3.15 and blah blah blah, so it was all free for season 3, and now into season 4 it's now 4.1, so it's the first patch of 2014. So there's a couple of big changes that have sort of taken place to do with the jungle, but I'll discuss about them as we sort of go along. So it does mention about leagues. A couple of you guys have actually commented on my videos asking me when the new rank season will reset, and according to the guys at League, the 2000 rank season reset will take place within the next few days. We'll have a full list of changes in the patch notes when it happens, so we'll have to wait a few days. So if you guys, I'd really recommend trying to play some League of Legends now. If you want to get your high, just try and boost your elo up a little bit higher, because it'll probably make your placement matches a little bit easier. Or I don't know how the resets will work, but if you have to do placement matches, the higher elo you have, the better chance you're going to be getting a higher league. So you want to be maybe looking to get some few games in if you can now. It's probably the best time to do it. So I don't know when it will change. League always say a few days, and it probably ends up a few months, but we'll have to wait and see. So they mentioned about here that there's been some vision code changes. It's not really too important, it's more just about what you can see than actually to do with sort of Warden. It says in-game vision should now be more responsive and dynamic as it interacts with abilities, like Lux. Along with that, it says ward sweeping abilities will now cause wards to darken the fog of war when they are disabled, which is quite nice. It's just more kind of making the game more appealing visually, I think. And finally, projectiles should register more quickly when a champion casts an ability from the fog of war. So it's just trying to make the game a bit more visually pleasing and fix some sort of problems I guess people have mentioned, or they've come up with that style. So moving on to the first sort of, this is going to be sort of the nerfs and buffs and the sort of little tweaks and peaks, even though it's not peaks, but unless you're Nivea, she's got a big old peak. So starting off with Nivea, the summary: we've increased the speed of Nivea's basic attack projectile and brought down the mana cost of Flash Frost and Crystallize. Additionally, Nivea's ult will now have a warning effect when she is almost out of glacial storms range, so that's pretty good. So basically that's saying when you're moving out of range of your ultimate, because obviously you can cast your ultimate in front of you as a Nivea, that's the big sort of circle AoE effect, it will actually give you a warning to know that, because if you move out of range it will cancel it, which could be quite sort of devastating if you're in a team fight, and then it goes on to cooldown for like I think it's around like 6 seconds, I don't know. You don't really see many people play a Nivea anymore, so that's quite interesting. And it's also interesting to see that they've increased her basic attack. Her auto attacks used to be very slow. I remember watching some Froggen who used to play her a lot for EG, and he actually killed someone with the auto attack, but it just took about 2 or 3 seconds for the auto attack to actually get to them. So you can see here the basic attack projectile speed increased to 1400 from 1100, so that's 300 difference. Don't know how that really works, but you know, it's better than nothing, I guess. What they have also done with her Q, the mana cost has been reduced from 80, 90, 100 to 110 to 120 from previously, which was 80 100, 120, 140, 160. So sort of just the later levels on her Q have been reduced, which will help her able to stay out on lane a little bit more, because she is quite mana hungry, especially with her ultimate. And her W has now been reduced to 70 all ranks, so which is quite a big difference compared to level 5, or the 5th rank on your W is 150, so it's more than half. So yeah, it's quite a nice saving, and should hopefully make her maybe a bit more viable these days. And obviously her ultimate, I believe this just explains about the warnings. So now moving on to Annie, good old Annie. She has actually been nerfed a little, which doesn't surprise me. I played a game of Annie the other day, and I couldn't. Oh, I went against Annie first, and I was like, wow, she is strong. So I was like, I've got to play her, and I wasn't wrong. She is a very strong champion, and basically what it mentions here is that even without Tibbers, she has a very strong presence because of her stun duration at level 1. So basically that's what they've changed. They've changed her passive so that her stun duration now scales at 1.25 to 1.5 to 1.75 at levels 1, 6 and 11, whereas previously 1.75 seconds at all level. So basically it just means that her early game stun won't be as effective, because she was able to stun you up for so long. She would be able to do your Q, then her W, and get a couple of auto attacks in, especially if a jungler comes, and this is pre-Tibbers. It's a lot of damage. They've also actually reduced the cooldown of Tibbers, which I think is quite nice, because as it mentions here, it was 120 at all ranks previously. They've now reduced it from 120 it stays at 120 at level 6, then down to 100 and then to 80, which is quite a nice amount, especially when she gets some cooldown. You'll probably be able to take that around down to about 60 seconds, which, I don't know, it does make Tibbers quite a bit more dangerous, but I don't know, it was a long old cooldown, 120 seconds, but then Tibbers is he is devastating. He is a real big strong bear, so that stays at. One of the most important changes I think that has actually been made, and I think it was kind of needed, was Evelyn. She has been nerfed. You may, or this video I will be uploading today, and it may be up by now, or it will be up later. I've uploaded an Evelyn gameplay, and this is the gameplay I did was pre this patch, and she was absolutely insane. It was you might escaping out of either how. But just how what I really noticed was her Q, of just how you could constantly spam it. And what I was kind of worried with her is that sure, she has this real good early game because you can run around invisible, and then I felt she would fade off sort of mid to late game, and that just didn't happen at all. Still had a lot of burst, and once you had like a Deathfire Grass into yourself, just your Q and your E is just doing insane damage. And basically they've noticed this. This is what they want to change, because with the vision changes, she's able to get around the map a lot easier. So obviously she has that early game advantage, but this is more to kind of try and nerf her down a little bit in the mid to late game and not make her as valid anymore. So what they have done with her Q is they've reduced the missile speed from 2000 to 1250, so that's a 750 difference. I don't know how that has worked out. I haven't had the actual chance of playing her. I did see her in a game earlier today, and she seemed to do pretty well, to be honest. So I'm not sure, but basically what they're mentioning here is basically meant to give the opponent a chance of running away, instead of just literally you could just spam that so quickly they would have no chance, and that's basically the idea. They've also changed Ravage, her E, from magic damage to physical damage. I guess this is trying to switch things up to mean that you just don't fully stack AP, because you were able to stack AP before, and obviously it would scale with your Q, it would scale with your E, and it would scale with your ultimate. So maybe it's trying to make it go a bit more hybrid. So that's quite interesting. And with her ultimate, it now grants the shield instantly instead of the 0.5 seconds later after the projectiles return to her. So basically, I guess it gives you a bit more chance of surviving, because that 0.5 seconds could be quite a bit of a difference, especially if you're low. I've certainly threw a couple ultimates in when I was playing, and I was like, where's my shield? And then eventually it does come, and and you're going all in straight away. So that's quite important. I guess that kind of tries to make up for her losing that sort of Q speed and that damage. Or it'd be interesting to see how it kind of works out. But it was quite a nice sort of nerf to her. I don't know if it will be massive, but her Q was really super effective. So that being nerfed, I think, is quite a big sort of move by Riot. Janna, I didn't actually have a look to see what they said about Janna. Really, Janna, I hate Janna so much, but I don't know. I'd never see a good Janna, always a bad Janna. So let's have a look. Summary: Monsoon now channels immediately on activation, and the channel duration has been reduced. Additionally, we're increasing Monsoon's heal per second and total heal amount. So this is to do with her ultimate. Since we removed a lot of Janna's invisible power, we can now buff up some of the cooler parts of her kit. Since Monsoon is one of Janna's big moments in the spotlight, we decided to throw caution to the wind and buff her up with more healing potential and immediate gains. So it's just, I guess, because that's the thing with Janna, you rely a lot on that heal, either with the knockback and obviously trying to heal your teammates. So it obviously now begins channeling immediately, which is quite nice. Total channel duration reduced to 3 seconds from 4 seconds. That's quite interesting that they've actually reduce that. I guess that's to try and make up the fact that it actually starts instantly, and the heal per second is increased, and the total heal amount is increased. So I guess that's the reason why the actual duration of it has been decreased by 1 second. So what they have also done is done some change to the Jinx. I think Jinx kind of needed some changes. She's a very strong AD carry at the moment, and a lot of the professional players seem to be playing her along with Lucy, and all I can hear is my dog. I hope you guys can't hear it. The dogs are downstairs going fucking crazy. I want to go down there and slap him in the face with a big steak. Anyway, okay, he's doing my tits then. Jinx summary: we've lowered Jinx's base health but increased her health per level. We're also standardizing Flame Chomper's arm time, reducing its damage at earlier levels, and fixing a slight bug. That Jinx, there's always bug in hell. So basically her base health is reduced to 462 from 500, which is quite a little bit different, sort of that's a 40 HP, could be the difference between one auto attack or not. And her health per level is increased to 82 from 80, so just kind of making up for that to make her a little bit, just to kind of take away that sort of little early game. That's not a massive real change really, to be honest, but I don't know, every little bit counts, I guess. And then with her E, which is her sort of root, I guess you could call it, the Flame Chompers, it standardized arm time to 0.7 seconds from 0.5, fixed a bug that would cause Chompers to sometimes not activate on champions dashing over them. Oh, that's quite interesting. You can't dash over them anymore. And reduced damage at earlier levels, so nothing really too important. Let's see what they've done to Nasus. I didn't realise they actually done Nasus. Reducing Wither's range and removing the increased Wither and Spirit Fire range granted through Warrior Sands. So not really too much really. All they've done is reduced the range of Wither from 700 to 600, so you just means you have to be a little bit closer. But when you're playing a champion like Nasus, you're generally close to the champions that you need to be anyway. I guess it just kind of stops him going into a team fight and instantly trying to put Wither onto the AD carry. He's actually got to try and get closer to them, which I guess would mean that he would take a bit more additional damage. And then with his ultimate no longer increases the cast range of Spirit Fire, which is fair enough. So not really a great loss to Nasus, to be honest. It's not really going to stop him. He's still going to have his Q, which just stacks up like a fucking madman, and he's going to be wrecking bods anyway. Rengar, obviously Rengar's been bugged out for quite a lot. I realise he has actually been put back into League of Legends, but as I said, we've fixed a bunch of bugs and tweaked Empowered Battle Roar. So let's have a look here. Q Savage basic attack buff, not attack speed buff, reduced to 2 seconds from 6 seconds, fixed multiple bugs, and his W Battle Roar, heal change to 20 plus 10 times level, amplified by 1% per 1% of Rengar's missing health. I don't really understand that too much. I really don't play Rengar. I've never really kind of been interested in him too much. Maybe you guys understand that a bit more than what I do. One of the big changes what on top of Evelyn really is Riven being nerfed. I think Riven has been a very strong champion recently. I've never really actually been able to play Riven too good. I think you rely on playing her passive a lot well, which I don't really kind of do. I just kind of just spam Q, Q, Q instead of Q, auto attack, Q, auto attack, Q, auto attack. So what they have done, we've lowered Riven's base attack damage but increased their attack damage per level to compensate. Additionally, Broken Wings damage has been decreased and Vada's shield duration was shortened. So basically, her E now, the shield duration has been reduced from 2.5 seconds to 1.5 seconds, which is quite a bit of difference. That's a whole second being knocked off her shield. Her Q, Broken Wings, damage for her strike decreased to 10, 30, 50, 70, 90 compared to what it used to be, which you guys can see there. So, you know, quite a bit of a difference. Really should be the sort of telling part. It'd be interesting to see how valid Riven is after these sort of little changes to her. Certainly that's her Q being reduced in damage, I think is quite necessary, and also the fact that her shield's being reduced quite a bit. So it'd be interesting to see how that kind of works out anyway. For Shyvana, we're lowering Burnout's overall damage and Flame Burst damage at earlier levels. Dragon's Descent also received a bug fix and the damage now matches the tooltip. So, not really too much here. All they've done is reduce the damage of Burnout by a little bit. Not massive, but, you know, I guess every little counts. And also they've reduced the damage of her E. Oh my god, this dog downstairs is doing my flipping tits in. I want to go shove my fist straight for its mouth and pull its heart out. It's a bit harsh, I know, but it is quite harsh really thinking about it. Forget I said that. Dragon's Descent, damage now correctly matches the tooltip at 175, 345 from 200, 300, 400. Moving on to Fresh, I think we only have 2 more champions. We've gone through all the champions, my mouth's starting to dry. It feels like I'm going through the Sahara Desert or something. So Fresh, we've made it obvious that the Dark Passage is a clickable item and gave it a smaller collision radius. We've also slightly increased the time it takes for the box to form. So I think this is to do with his ultimate. I swear his ultimate used to be called the box. Maybe it did. I thought it used to be called. I guess it's Q's Death. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, delay on the wall formation increased to 0.0 seconds from 0.5, and his W now shows indicator particles to nearby allies to indicate that it's a clickable object. Lantern now has small collision radius, so that's pretty cool actually, because I know a lot of people or a lot of noobs just can't click it. They're like, "Where's this lantern? Where's this lantern?" It's like, oh my god, are you trolling me, Gan? Are you really trolling me? So interesting to see how that kind of works, or how it quite looks. So it's quite nice to see that they've added something like that in, because I think it's quite important, because a lot, especially when you're in the mix of a battle and everything's going down, hopefully it should be the sort of difference being able to Fresh to be able to pull you out to safety. Yasuo, a final champion in the patch notes. We've smoothed out Yasuo's gameplay overall and made Steel Tempest auto smart cast. Additionally, Last Breath now gives maximum flow when cast and has a slightly shorter animation. I really have not done anything with Yasuo. I've only played the one game which I did in Thailand when it was all in Thai, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I couldn't even use his ultimate, so really not too sure what that all kind of means, but in the general, it now says, now properly applies a 10% critical strike damage reduced to static shield critical hits, improve the functionality of his E, sweeping blade to Q, Steel Tempest combo, his Q, Steel Tempest also casts, and now automatically smart cast, his W Windfall no longer blocks friendly Syndromes, no longer? I guess, Syndrome. Maybe, well, that's quite interesting that he used to block the Syndromes, that's quite funny, if that's what I'm thinking. And his ultimate Last Breath now grants maximum flow and cast, spout animation shortened by 0.1 seconds, now less likely to be teleported out by enemies, spamming flash, and now properly alerts spectators and allies when it's on cooldown. So there we go. So here's just some minor bug changes and bug fixes. Really nothing too much to. It's kind of just some random bits and pieces. Really not too much to worry about. If you guys want to check them out, like I say, you can find it on the League of Legends website and you'll be able to see it there. One notice that actually there is Olaf's Q slow reduced to 29, 33 to 37, 41, 45% from the previous 35, 40, 45, 50, 55%. So that's quite a little bit of difference there on Olaf's Undertow. Anyway, so now onto items. Not really too many massive changes, bar on the Sunfire Cape actually. There's been some changes to the jungle items, which we'll talk about in a second. So the tooltip now displays the amount of ability power gained from its unique passive, so that's quite cool. So you can actually see how much unique or additional ability power you're gaining through having your death cap. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Even though it's not really that massively important, but you know, it's pretty cool. Actually, I forgot to say, it's bar the Sunfire Cape. This is quite a big change they've done to the Spirit's Visage. They've reduced the cooldown from 20% to 10%. Basically, the idea is this: is that they mentioned that a lot of top laners or people were buying the Spirit's Visage just purely for the cooldown and the stats, even though when they didn't need the item, just because 20% is a lot of cooldown plus all the additional stats you get from it. So they have nerfed that, which is a bit of a shame because 20% cooldown is a nice amount, but I don't know. There you go, it's not the end of the world. You still get a lot of nice stats from buying it, but I guess it's to make sure that you're buying it for the right reason. That's the kind of aim behind it. And the Sunfire Cape has actually been nerfed to reduce the overwhelming power of early Sunfire Cape. So I guess Sunfire Cape was pretty overpowered early game, but I don't know how effective it will be now after the changes. But basically what they've done is magic damage changed to 25 plus character level from 40. So if you're level 15, then it'd do 40 damage. So it will mean that it does actually do a little bit more damage, but towards the late game instead of the early game, just to try and take the effect of the early game away. God, this dog is doing my tits, and it still fucking is getting louder and louder. I hope you guys can't hear it, because I can imagine it being quite annoying for you guys. But he is doing my tits, and I'm ready to. I don't know what I'm going to do to him, but I'm going to teach him a lesson. Now, 1 second. Enough! I put a fucking socking out. Alright. We really like God, dog, I've lost my trail of thought. Jungle items. So basically what they've done is they made some changes. We really like the Spirit of the Spectral Race healing passive, so we decided to make it a stable passive on every Spirit item. So what this means is that on the Spirit Stone, the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, and the Spirit of the Owl Lizard, they've pretty much now removed the health and mana regen on each one. And it now gives 8% of damage dealt to monsters as health and 4% as mana, half effect for area effect spells. So basically it kind of means that you need to actually be in the jungle farming and doing stuff to get your health and mana back. So it'd be interesting to see how that kind of works, really. And also on the Spectral Wraith, now grants 2 ability power for every large monster kill. So yeah, it's quite interesting. It's a nice little change. Change they have made here to the turrets is to do with basically it mentions about the 2v1 lanes. I guess you guys won't really have too much problem with the 2v1 lane swaps unless you're playing at sort of diamond, I guess. It doesn't really happen too much on solo queue. It's more for the professional teams that do it, where you have the communication. What they would do is send their AD carry and support up to the top lane to try and push down the top lane quicker, and then it allows to have better dragon control down the bottom. So to counteract this, what they've done with the turrets, outer turrets no longer gain bonus armor magic resist for the first 8 minutes of the game, and top and middle lane outer turrets now have 20 damage reduction from champion's basic attack. So they've kind of just changed around that to kind of sort of make people think twice about these 2v1 lanes to shut down the top laner and blah blah blah. These stuff isn't really too important. They're just explaining about changes to the Crystal Scar, Howling Abyss and Twisted Tree line, but no one really plays that. And the new player experience, where if you're a new player you get a certain selection of free champions that you can play. So yeah, that's the patch notes for patch 4.1. This is the first time doing a video like this, so hopefully this video has been quite informative and you guys have enjoyed it and learnt something from it. If you have any questions, let me know and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good day, take it easy, peace.